Welcome to the show. This is No Interference. We are your hosts, Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. We are continuing our off-season coverage, so we're just going to roll right into it. News of the week in the NFL is the owners' meeting has been conducted. Biggest news coming out of that is probably Lamar Jackson remains unsigned, and yeah, the saga continues.
There's a reason why it's the biggest story in the NFL is because it's never happened. It seems like this has never happened before with such a young player with his caliber of talent / proven ability. Yet, and he's available, but he can't get a deal with anybody. It's going to never end.
I have a very strong feeling.
I'm not even a Ravens fan. I'm exhausted. I feel terrible for Ravens fans.
I have a feeling this the longer this goes on, the more and more this feels like it's going to end up being like a cautionary tale. Like, sure, I hope Lamar does go to a new team and has a great rest of his career, but the more he goes without being signed, it's like good player.
He's never going to play again.
Well, it's just like, listen, okay, he won MVP in 2019. He has a great win-loss record. But here's the argument that all the owners, it's a business, right? It's all about, dollars and cap and making money. You can make an argument that he's gotten worse, or at the very least, not improved in 3 years. He's missed 12 games in the last 2 years. There's now a bit of a drama between him and his, I guess we'll just call the Ravens, his previous franchise, with how his injury was handled. The Ravens were like, oh, it's probably going to be a 1 to 3 week injury, and Lamar turned it into like a 9-week injury. You see what I hear on the radio now is Jalen Hurts got hurt his shoulder and played through it all the way to the Super Bowl. Didn't complain about it. Josh Allen had a bum elbow pretty much all year, played through it. And now you have Lamar, who wants this groundbreaking deal, and he's apparently sticking to his guns, and he's not going to take anything else as an option. And now we're seeing a former MVP, perennial All-Pro quarterback, a guy that really probably breaks records every year. Now we're coming up on the draft, and he's still in limbo.
Yeah. I mean, something's got to give, right? Are the owners going to? It seems like he's sticking to what he believes his value is. He's, whether you want to call it stubborn or I don't know what's the positive of stubborn.
Determined.
Determined. Is he determined to get his money's worth for what he believes his value is? And are the owners, from what it sounds like from this owners, the meetings where the owners actually get to talk, that most of them are concerned about whether it be health, money, play style, all the above, whether it's warranted or not. They're all kind of saying the same thing, that they don't want to give him what he wants. And if they're not going to change and he's not going to change, and the Ravens and Lamar Jackson don't have a contract signed by, what is it, July? I can't remember the date, but they have to figure out a contract by then, or he either has to sign his franchise tag or he's not playing until he does.
Then he misses out on all that money.
Yeah, which also he's not going to play on that deal. Like, there's no way it's $34 million. He's not going to play on that, especially based on the rumors of what he wants and what the other top tier quarterbacks in the league are making. So the longer this goes on, I don't know.
Yeah, and I just want to stress, because with the Falcons and the Arthur Blank situation, he kind of got grilled a little bit with people going, well, the Falcons pursued Deshaun Watson last year, so why wouldn't they pursue Lamar this year? And he basically said, different player, different year, it's not the same circumstance. And what I come back to is, take out the Browns. The Browns deal with Deshaun. Lots of teams are talking to Deshaun Watson, and it was going to be a big deal, but not as substantial as it was. The only reason he got this guaranteed mega deal, which we're learning over every year is not really as great as it seemed to be. He only got that because the Browns said, we want you no matter what. What's it going to take? And he basically said, this is what it takes. And the Browns said, fine, got it. And the Browns also historically don't make smart moves. So basically, Lamar is hoping that some other team, I don't know who it would be, but some other team would do the same thing. Like, listen, we got to have you. We're going to give you whatever you want. Just tell us. And so far, no one has come and done that. Even with Deshaun, he told the Browns no multiple times, I think it was reported. And then they finally said, just name your price. Well, Lamar's named his price to the entire league, and he's sticking to his guns, and he's kind of losing ground, it seems.
Getting no bites.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns were everything you just said. The Browns weren't even like a favorite. I remember leading up to it. It was like, what, Carolina, Atlanta,
and the Seahawks?
Yeah, it was a few teams. And then, like you said, like, what are these teams going to do, and why should they face backlash when the Browns came out of nowhere and did this historic contract, essentially, for, this questionable player. Deshaun Watson's had 2 ACL injuries, one in college, one his rookie year. He had the legal issues. It was in the I think the league owners meeting last year. The Ravens owner, Biscotti, apparently he was like outraged by the Browns giving Deshaun Watson that contract. I don't remember who I read said it, but they said essentially, it may have been Biscotti, that he wasn't the right player to get that, transcendent deal, which I agree with.
It was just like when the Texans gave DeAndre Hopkins that massive deal that it jumped the wide receiver market like 3 to 5 years ahead of schedule.
And you also have players like Richard Sherman, Players Media now. I think it was Richard Sherman who pretty much said that Patrick Mahomes, was it Richard? I think it was Richard Sherman, the saying that Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen taking less essentially than what Deshaun Watson took by not taking fully guaranteed deals screwed over Lamar Jackson, which I also disagree with, because Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes got good deals, huge extensions. They obviously have proven that they can finish seasons, play in the playoffs multiple years in a row. Both have had deep playoff runs, Super Bowls for Mahomes. Josh Allen, whether you want to question him finishing the deal, it's a hard conference, but he has gotten there, even with, like you said, the elbow injury. So there's trust in themselves and the teams that they're going to be healthy and they're not going to lose out on money getting cut or something on the back end of their deal. And then Patrick Mahomes' deal is a whole different thing, built in with like bonuses and stuff like that.
With Josh Allen and Mahomes, when they signed their deals, the Deshaun Watson deal wasn't on anyone's radar. So how are you blaming them for taking their deal and comparing their deals to Watson? At that time, the closest thing we had to Watson's contract was Kirk Cousins' little 3-year, $85 million guaranteed extension. So, like, how are you gonna put them at fault when up until then it wasn't no one was even, it wasn't on the horizon at all. I thought when you said something. One thing I do want to bring up is we've been talking about Lamar not having an agent and how it's hurt him. And another reason why I think it's affecting him, he's constantly on Twitter, basically having a one-man war against the league over Twitter. And if he had an agent, his agent would just say, just don't do anything, let me handle it all. At most, they would say, like, with social media, take all your Ravens stuff off your Instagram. But don't actively be like, how are you expecting to get these owners to give you money when you're actively like calling them out and arguing with them over Twitter?
Yeah, he's constantly defending every single post or point or everything that's getting said, which happens every time. There's a big, NFL dilemma going on. Media's going to jump on it. It's the offseason. Can't react to shit like that, no matter what. Especially, he knows his reasons why, if he sat out or whatever it is. Stop feeding into it. Not helping your image, public image, like you said, to the owners who you're expecting to be the face of a franchise.
It's like if we're playing pickup basketball and you have one guy that is like in the middle of the talent pool and he's actively, while you're picking teams, trash talking the two captains, and he complains why he got picked last.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
It's a great analogy.
What? I don't know. I just wish we had, I wish Lamar Jackson could come out, which he never will, because that will hurt his negotiation somehow. But if he would just put out on Twitter, since he likes to do that, how much he's asking for on a piece of paper or something, and then everyone would know, and people like us would be like, well, that's too much, or no, that makes sense, and then that would put more pressure on the league to be like, well, that's a fair deal. If we do not sign him to it, because most people think that is fair, then that's making us look bad. Which I think fans can pressure the league to a certain extent. So I don't know. Would that make sense for him to be like he's come out and said, this is what I've been offered, and he said, no, I haven't asked for that. So
what are you asking?
This is becoming such a big thing. Yeah, what are you asking for then?
Yeah,
just tweet it.
The fact that he hasn't said what he's asking for kind of alludes to the fact that it's kind of whatever he's asking for is a ridiculous amount.
Well, yeah, I mean the contracts are all public anyways. As soon as you sign, it's going to be Lamar Jackson, if he ever does sign whatever the deal is, however many years, however many million. So yeah, like just say what you're asking for. We all know NFL players get it paid an extreme amount of money. You know, I don't think there's a. I mean, I would if whatever the deal is at this point, I wouldn't be like, wow, that's ridiculous. But you know, if he doesn't think, if he really, in his heart of hearts, thinks it's a fair contract, then let the people see it.
Yeah. And the other thing, like I hear people going, well, if like Lamar, if he doesn't get what he wants, then he can just sit out the year and become a true free agent and do whatever he wants. And I'm like, I mean,
He can't.
he's basically that right now anyway. Like if someone really wanted him and the contract wasn't an issue, teams would throw away 2 first-round picks for Lamar, and that's all they'd have to do. But the NFL is definitely a here today, gone tomorrow league. Short of Geno Smith, which is why I think the Geno Smith story was such a miraculous story. Like, not saying it's the same, but Cam Newton, he was an MVP, going to the Super Bowl in his prime, out of the league in 4 years. Le'Veon Bell was by far the best running back in the league, sits out a year, done. Deshaun Watson was a top 5 quarterback, sat out for some time for multiple reasons, comes back and looks like a shell of himself. So regardless of what Lamar thinks, the league will go on without him. Like, you sit out a year, and Michael Vick was the most must-see TV.
Electric.
Yeah, most electric player ever, must-see TV. People who aren't even football fans or even watch football knew Michael Vick, had Michael Vick jerseys. Goes away for, well, everyone knows that story. Goes away for years. And sure, he comes back with the Eagles, but while he was gone, like, after a year of him being out of the league, like, no one talked about him. You didn't go, oh, what about Michael Vick or anything? Like, you just was like,
yeah, I feel like
did something great.
Outside of like what an injury, I don't think. I mean, yeah, players have missed seasons before. It happens all the time. It happens every year. It happens to almost every team. A player gets injured and misses the entire season, and they can return to form. Adrian Peterson missed a whole year from an ACL injury, and didn't he rush for like 2,000 yards the next season?
Yeah.
That's the record.
But that's a different thing, your team's like, oh, I can't wait to get that guy back. He's still in his prime. He's going to get healthy.
They're still around the team a lot too.
There's something about sitting out. You're going to high school football stadiums and practicing during the summer with random guys that are your friends or during the season.
It's almost like you lose your NFL rhythm. Like you have to find, your spot.
Yeah, like you can go out there and practice as much as you want and do drills with like your personal trainer or whatever. But yeah, it's like you're not in the swing of things. Like Taylor said, you're not getting talked about as much. Like as soon as week 1 comes around and Lamar Jackson, let's say Lamar Jackson says he's like not playing this year. He's holding out for the year. As soon as week 1's up and it's on the week 2, the conversation will not be about him. Like maybe if the Ravens don't have a quarterback situation figured out and they're struggling, they're like 0-8 and they're like, dang, wish I had Lamar Jackson. But other than that, like as like an Eagles, Titans, and Commanders fan, none of us are going to care.
No, you'll probably hear about Lamar like a sprinkle throughout the year. But he won't be any topic of major discussions.
Yeah. Honestly, I just hope a team if I had to put my money, like push all my chips towards like something right now, I would say he's not playing. this year. But I hope he just gets his contract because I'm tired of talking about it. It's entertaining to talk about, and it gives us something to talk about. But I don't
That
know.
Stavi video.
Oh yeah.
Fuck you, Lamar. You want your Baltimore anyway.
Please come back.
please, Lamar. This is accent.
It's so good.
So good.
Lamar tweeted that video out and laughed about it.
It's not going to be laughing
It's
about
pure
in
comedy.
2 months.
He probably first saw it and was like, man, fuck this guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He did those all year. They were funny all year.
That was the first time I saw him, I think.
Oh, go to his Instagram page.
I started scrolling after.
He did one after every game. They're so funny.
They were so funny. Joe Flacco would have led us to the playoffs.
Joe Flacco. It's about Joe Flacco.
That reminds me of that always reminds me of like that Baltimore accent of when the Orioles, the Baltimore Orioles had Gallardo, and everyone's like Gallardo. I think somebody mentioned that on ESPN, and I was like, Baltimore. I don't even have a Baltimore accent. Well, maybe a little bit. I don't know, but represent.
A touch. Oh, you said something a couple minutes ago. Sound a little Baltimore.
Yeah.
My favorite.
It's in our water.
It's in the water.
You know, just drinking my water.
My favorite Baltimore accent joke is the whole when it's like Aaron ironed.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Aaron ironed. Yeah.
Earn.
He's like
Aaron.
I earned.
Yeah, that's funny.
Aaron earned and iron earn, and they're like earn and earn.
The earn plant.
So funny.
That's why people don't like going to Baltimore.
Plus the murder, drugs, and
I was saying there's a few other things that might top that list.
I was trying to just.
I was born there, but
get around that. Trevor wasn't born in Baltimore.
Don't be telling people my business.
You're born in Annapolis.
Yep. He was an Annapolis rich boy.
Born with a boat up your butt.
I've been exposed to the YouTube verse. No one's ever going to respect me.
His real name's Clarence.
He lost all his street cred.
Our subscribers just start to go ding, 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 ding.
Nah! His name's Clarence. He's got real nice parents, and they have a real good marriage. Oh, it's so funny. All right, snap back to the show.
Okay, we started out talking about the owners' meetings and tailed off into a whole Lamar talk. Well, back to the owners' meetings. They did discuss and agree on a few rule changes. Probably the one that almost everyone's talked about is the number 0 jersey will be allowed to be worn again. What's his
Hunters
face?
can wear 90 through 99.
What's his face? Calvin Ridley said that he's going to start wearing 0.
So, well, you know this background with this, right?
Not
the Eagles are the ones that push that forward to have the 0 added to the number list. And
why?
Mostly because they've started to retire too many jerseys. So I think the equipment guy and somebody else, Jeffrey Lurie, said they recommended, hey, we could use a little bit more, an extra number option. Also for the punters, Jeffrey Lurie said for the punters to have another option. So if we have a fucking punter come out next year and he's the one wearing 0, I'm going to be outraged.
Well, yeah, because punters can do 0 through 49 and then now 99, or 0 through 59, whatever it was. Yeah. And then 90 through 99. So you see a punter or a kicker walking out there looking 99. It's like, is that JJ? What the hell?
Well,
not JJ
the Eagles, I think the Eagles have around.
Kicker.
I think
who plays kicker?
I think the Eagles have around like 10 numbers retired, but they have like another 10 to 15 that haven't been worn in like 20 years. So they're like not really retired. They're like unofficially retired.
Like 21 in Washington.
Like 5 McNabb, 92 Reggie White, 99 Jerome Brown.
Is there a 20? I haven't seen a 20.
20 Brian Dawkins is retired. I think I don't know if that's official or unofficial, but like nobody wears that anymore.
What about Westbrook? Was it 36? I don't see no 36.
I don't remember if that was on the list, but that would be weird if any. That was a great number for him, 36.
I like that as a good running back number.
That's my
running back. And then I think of Jerome Bettis too. So both of them.
Nobody thinks about that fat lard. The bus.
People who just Kool-Aid man's your computer room and goes to the wall. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have tools, Jerome Bettis, are going to fix this wall.
Dane Cook. My dad's going to come home and beat my ass with a toaster. God, the rails on the train go.
Oh no.
But the zero, I'm all for the zero. We need an agent zero in the NFL.
Yeah, go Arenas.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's going to be like some receiver, some shifty receivers going to have to get that.
Watch, now the Eagles next year are going to start suggesting negative numbers because y'all just keep retiring and everything.
That's never going to happen. 00, I heard.
It's better yet, the NFL's going to start having people wear letters.
What's the NBA? Sorry, I thought you were the field judge.
Number 1A. Number 1A has scored a touchdown.
Number and then whatever your name starts with. And it's like, God damn it. Too much.
Yeah.
And
if they increase the roster sizes, which they've talked about.
By how many players, though?
I don't know. Probably a few, but still.
Yeah.
You got 99 numbers.
6?
You have 99 numbers with an extra 0. So 100 or 00 is 101. So, and like if you're an Eagles and you retired 30 numbers or 20 numbers, you only got 80 left. Then you got a 52-man roster, so you got 28 left.
Well, it does help that any player can wear almost anything. Like when it comes to position players, they can wear any number they want to.
I want to see a center wearing number 1.
Yeah, or like a running back wearing 55.
That's ugly.
69.
Even linebackers
that's meant for
aren't
right guard or
wearing.
left guard. Even
50s was the linebacker number until the last 5-8 years. They wear 40s now, and now single digits.
Single digits, yeah.
52, Ray Lewis.
I think Deion Buchanan was the first one to break the barrier wearing 20 when he was the hybrid combo.
Yeah, I remember 40 being worn by
Falcons guy,
Devin White, Deion Jones. Yeah, those guys wearing these fast
There's always a joke. There's a joke that if you're a linebacker wearing 40, you got to be fast.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think of fast linebackers when I think of 40.
Literally.
Madden, if my linebacker's fast, he's getting 40. If he's slow, he's getting 90 or 50.
Honestly,
I don't like 90 on the middle linebacker either.
No, I like 90 on the middle linebackers. Old school.
I like on the line. Outside or on the line.
You got to be a pass rusher if you're in the 90s.
I agree. Full diesel.
More of the rule changes. Some of them aren't that big of a deal. This one is referees will adjust the play clock following any instant replay reversals. And they're saying that before, players would have to signal to the officials to request more time on the play clock. So
this really makes sense.
I guess now they're saying it should be it should be automatic. It probably should have been automatic from the get-go.
From the get.
Mm-hmm. Next rule change: replay officials. Oh, what?
I was just saying this next one you're about to say is a good one.
It's the same order. Replay officials can automatically review a close play on a failed fourth down
You're looking
attempt.
at CBS?
Yeah. That's what I was looking at.
This way that if you get stuffed on the fourth down, if it's really close, you don't have to waste a challenge, and it'll speed up the game because it'll basically. I guess it's going to be fourth and shorts are going to be, I guess, considered just like on the goal line where everything's reviewed immediately.
Well, I don't like the way it's worded because it says officials can automatically, which means is it at their discretion, or do
I
they
think
have
it's
to
a
review
close
it before
call.
time?
I think it's just close calls. Like it was obviously
It's going to
short.
be like it was last year for the other the close plays. They get together really quick and they go do a quick replay, and before the play clock's even done, the next play's even called, they were like, run it back.
Hard.
Because what they do that for last year, they could do that for anything last year. I thought it was like the quick replay rule. I guess this is a little different. This is a little bit more official.
Well, they don't really review. They don't really review it. They'll have a discussion. They'll have a live discussion and make a call.
Last year they did the quick review where they would have a quick discussion, but they were talking to somebody to do a review. I thought.
I don't think so. I think they'd have to trigger that. Where now it's like it's gonna be like standard practice.
Okay.
Next one is to change the definition of a launch. Now a launch, which is a 15-yard penalty, personal foul. It's if you basically leave the ground. It doesn't matter if it's a 1 foot or 2 foot jump. If you leave the ground towards a defenseless player, it's a 15-yard penalty.
AKA, while they're in the air, don't touch them. Or, like we said, catch them.
Yeah, basically, just gently bring them down or light them up once they land on their feet.
Good luck, defenses.
Yeah, makes it. Well, the league's gotten better about it, but yeah, it is tougher on the defenders. It's like if you have a tall, like if Calvin Johnson were playing right now, what would you do? Like, just tell your quarterback throw the ball up high, and I want to out jump anybody. If they recklessly hit me, it's going to be a penalty anyway.
The defender's just going to start being like Jack Black and Cable Guy when Jim Carrey's running at him. He's like, ah!
Oh, man. All I know
the
is
receivers just run up their back and go into the end zone.
I can just hear it now. All the old heads at the bar will be like, God damn it, it's not even foosball anymore.
Next rule is tripping. Tripping is now a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Way to go, Tom Brady.
Asshole.
The next one, let me read this one real quick. This to make handling the football forward a penalty like an illegal forward pass. This will penalize teams handing off the football forward on a read option, for example, or any other running play. A penalty handoffs will have to be made next to or behind the quarterback. That's the interesting one. So
how are you supposed to run out of the shotgun?
The handoff will have to be put it behind you. Side to side, hip to hip. You can't.
Okay, what's the difference between a jet sweep and the quarterback tosses the ball in front of him? You can't do jet sweeps anymore.
It's a toss. It's not a handoff.
Yeah, I don't.
But what's the difference?
Yeah, I don't understand the wording because
no, it says this will penalize teams handing off the football forward on a read option, for example, or any other running play penalty.
The only thing I could understand about it is like if
I see. Handoffs will have to be made next to or behind the quarterback. So if you're running a read option, like the quarterback can go read it, and he could hand it off as the running back's going in front of him. That's the only way to do a read option. So if they're saying that's from the side, we need clarification on that rule.
Yeah, it doesn't make.
Let's see it in action.
It doesn't make sense to me because what why would a forward handoff behind the line of scrimmage be illegal? Because if you want to call it a pass, call it a pass. But you can throw passes behind the line of scrimmage, like you were talking about.
What's the
Yeah.
disadvantage? That sounds like some coach was mad about the Eagles being able to do read options successfully and was like, we need to get this made easier for the defenders to read.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like this rule is more so targeting line play and RPOs. Like,
Yeah, it said some details.
If they're gonna classify a late read as a forward pass, you could potentially get called for illegal man downfield. But that's not what this specific rule is explaining.
That's messing around with football too much, in my opinion.
Yeah,
a handoff's a handoff. A pass is a pass. If the ball goes backwards, it's a handoff. If the ball goes forward, it's a pass. So who cares how it's handed off?
This seems, every year they put a rule in that literally never gets called. This is probably gonna be one of those.
Yeah.
The next one, to make the penalty. What were we saying?
The ref's never gonna be able to, like, how are you gonna judgment call that?
Yeah,
they can't see a whole. They can't see. They can't see a 300-pound person holding another 300-pound person.
Yeah, we'll see how this gets called. Next rule is to make the penalty for illegal punts, drop kicks, or place kicks the same as an illegal forward pass. So this way, if you have an illegal kick, it'll be a loss of a down at the spot of the foul. I mean, I'm fine with that. How often do we have illegal kicks, you know? So basically, if you have an illegal kick, they're not going to award you with just being able to just be like, whoops, let me retry it. It's going to be a loss of down. Let's see. To prevent the offense from benefiting with an extra play at the end of half because of an offensive penalty proposed by
I thought that was already a thing where you could.
Yeah, I thought the rule has always been that the half or a quarter cannot end on a defensive penalty, but it can end on an offensive penalty. This is another rule that I don't get.
It has to be the other team. Yeah.
I feel like they changed the very specific wording that we don't see, and that's all that got changed.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
The next one is to clarify the use of a helmet against an opponent. Removes the word butt, ram, and spear from the wording, and now it's just impermissible use of the helmet.
So that's just wording.
Yeah, so I mean, it just means it's up to the referee discretion of. The thing that gets on my nerves is I've seen so many times safeties, linebackers, corners come in for a textbook tackle, and then
running back goes.
The running back or the receiver dip down, and it creates helmet contact that would have not, because when you're teaching like a textbook tackle, you're teaching to drive through, have your head up, contact with your shoulder, and a lot of times you're teaching, cheek to cheek. So you should have your head beside their hips, drive through the shoulder. You can line that up, but if the person last second dips down and it causes your helmet to hit them, you're running 20 miles an hour at changing angles. So my problem is they call that in defenders all the time, but running backs, you'll see them dip their helmet to try and truck through a defender. I think I've only ever seen that get called one time.
And they made that a whole rule, too, about being a runner and lowering your helmet against a defender. I've definitely only seen it called once, though.
So now there's some bylaws. So one is...
What's a bylaw?
It's a bylaw.
Second too.
To change the claiming to change the claiming period to Monday for players who are waived on Friday and Saturday.
So
basically,
hey, I'm just gonna stop you real quick. This is a long list.
Oh, okay, shit! Yeah, it is.
Let's.
We can go down one at a time if you want, but we might be here a while.
I didn't realize how long it went on.
Negative Ghost Rider.
No, it's not that long.
What are you talking about, Willis?
The page goes to another article. It's not that long.
but there's still at least
Okay,
20 more rules.
Well, there's one more that I want to talk about.
All right.
The only other big one is that it's one that they did not pass. They proposed to allow roughing the passer to be a reviewable call, and apparently the league's not going to allow that.
Even after all the crap that they got last year for the crappy, horrible deciding.
It says not approved
roughing the passer
rules, and the very first one is roughing the passer. They proposed roughing the passer to be a reviewable call, and it got rejected, I guess. Another one.
Yeah,
sorry.
Why wouldn't you? It's not like it happens so much that it's going to slow down games. Like, it was literally like one big one a week.
Yeah. So there's one more rule that got rejected, and that was getting rid of the onside kick for a 4th and 20. The Eagles proposed that, and it got rejected. I'm happy with that because a 4th and 20 is way easier to get than a 20-yard play is way easier to get than an onside kick. And you can have.
I bet you, if you look at the statistics, Hail Marys are probably just as successful as onside kicks, if not more. Like at the end of half or end of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and that's
I think if you're going to replace onsides, you need to do 4th and 30. 4th and 35.
Could you imagine you're like a subpar team in the league, and you have a 3-touchdown lead on, say, the Eagles or the Chiefs or the Bengals, and you're feeling good about yourself, and in the fourth quarter, they can basically nonstop keep possession of the ball just by getting a 20-yard pass to Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, or Patrick Mahomes getting a 20-yard seam route to Travis Kelce. And as long as they do that, they can just be like, listen, you do have a big lead on us, but you're not getting the ball back the rest of the game, and we're going to just erase your.
I don't think it's as automatic as that. But
no, but
yeah, the playbook's a lot. There's plays you can. Yeah, it's not impossible to get, unless they say like an onside kick, the ball has to pass the 10 yards before it's touched. They could say like the ball has to travel past the 20-yard line. It can't be like underneath stuff, turning it into like a kick return or something, because a lot of teams do that. Like if you say the ball has to have air traveled to the, past 20 yards or whatever.
That would be interesting. That would be very interesting, because then you just
see. I make the rules. I make good rules,
because you would still have your pass rush, but then you would basically have all your other defenders just have a 20-yard gap, and that would be interesting, because I'm pretty sure. Who knows? I don't know. I can't think of numbers off the top of my head, but that would be interesting.
That would be harder. And then you got guys running full speed, and the defense is just waiting there.
The pass you have a 4th and 20, but the pass has to be caught beyond the 20, beyond the marker.
Yes, no underneath stuff, no screens, nothing like that. No, how if a defense is playing sticks, they'll do
However, on the flip side, 4 guys. The defense, if I was on the defense, knowing that rule, I'm doing an all-out 9-man blitz and saying, we're going to get to you before your receivers can get 20 yards downfield.
Time out.
I mean, it doesn't take a receiver that long to get 20 yards.
So how would it work? Would you you would score, and then instead of lining up for kickoff, you would line up where?
4th and 20.
Where on the one? Where do you do a 4th and 20 at?
On
the
25,
I don't think. I think if you successfully get the 4th and 20, I don't think. I think that would count as only getting a successful 4th and 20, and then you get the ball back at the 40 or something like that.
Well, yeah, they have you start the 4th and 20, so that if you get it, they did it so it kind of matches up with onside. So if you don't get it,
well, technically with an onside kick, you can recover it. And if you so have the ability, you can return it for a touchdown.
No, this 4th and 20. If this rule got passed, the 4th and 20 would be if you turned it into like a 70-yard touchdown. That would be a 70-yard touchdown.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. But I'm saying they shouldn't do that.
It should just be you get the 20 yards and then
that's what the XFL's
doing. That's a lot. I don't know.
Well, the XFL.
Yeah, they only need one. They're like the worst in college. They need 1'2". Bunch of grown men.
I never understood the 1 foot rule.
Yeah,
make it hard. Make it just as hard on these college kids to make. Like, I mean, want them to be ready.
Especially the powerhouses that have NFL ready players already. Like let them get 2 feet down. But whatever.
But I mean,
you say fuck you 2 feet. We'll get them $2 million.
I get the college basketball 3-point line being shorter because it's hard. It's harder than people think to get the ball to go like 20. What is it? 23 feet. And some of these kids in college basketball are just skin and bones, 18-year-olds still. But drag you 2 feet. Everybody tries to drag the two. If you don't try to drag both your feet, and you're like you only need one, then you're just a sucker. Like Andrew Luck's catch in college, it always was not as good as I thought because he didn't get 2 feet in.
Whose catch?
You remember Andrew Luck's like miraculous sideline catch in college?
Not really.
He did like a quarterback receiver run thing. Yeah, and he caught it like one-handed on the sideline, but he dragged 1 foot. I'm like,
I will say, I'm 100% 2 foot catch guy. However, the 1 foot catch rule does allow for some miraculous back of the end zone plays in college.
For college football, yeah, it's probably better, but I'm talking like training these guys, but they don't care about that.
Yeah,
they just want the money while they got it.
True. Well, not to get into that, but with all the NIL deals, college players are getting paid as is. So that does it for Lamar owner meeting rule changes. Anything else y'all wanted to throw out there?
I mean, along with Lamar, Aaron Rodgers got a little saga going too. He still made no moves have been made yet.
Yeah, that's a little bit more of a quieter thing. Not much has been said about that. They're just stuck on apparently a draft pick, I heard.
Yeah, but I mean, if Rodgers just goes, "Hey, I'm just going to retire," who cares?
Not me.
Damn cheeseheads.
We'll all just say, "Hey, okay, great career, Hall of Famer," but yeah, you're 40. Go enjoy the rest.
No, just kidding.
He's a Hall of Famer.
I was waiting for him to go. Is Kirk Cousins a Hall of
Famer?
Famer?
So is Kirk Cousins. Yeah.
Hey, I always say at the same time that Aaron Rodgers is like you're talking pure throwers of the football. You got Dan Marino, and like Aaron Rodgers, like two of the better, like just pure. Like it doesn't look right, and it's just so good. Like Aaron Rodgers, if you wanted somebody to teach like your kid how to throw a football, don't let Aaron Rodgers do it. Like he zips the ball and is like got no feet on the ground. It's just impressive.
Same with Patrick Mahomes.
Anyways. Yeah, it's like a lot of you couldn't teach people how to do it his way.
Yeah, a lot of the top throwers in the league, it's just how they are. Like there's not a lot of like prototypical.
Well, Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes is he's also good.
But even Peyton Manning, if you really look at it, like a lot of people go like, "Oh, perfect technique." But if you watch Peyton Manning, he had a kind of a weird. It worked and it looked good, but like
my favorite part about him was
standing
just
upright, the double steps where he's just hopping around.
Yeah, the little. It's good to keep your feet moving.
And he had that real tight over the top motion.
Yep. That's a classic throw. You don't see that.
You know who has a good. Yeah. I'm just going to top of my head, so I could be wrong. Don't quote me, but I feel like Eli Manning had a good. He had
a pretty technique. Prototypical like. You're not going to impress anybody. You're not here for flashiness. Just like he has generic one throwing motion.
Eli Manning was
generic one.
Eli
From
Manning
Madden.
was Eli Manning was is just plain buttered noodles.
Exactly. No meat sauce. No meatballs. No oregano.
No Italian seasoning. Oof.
A lot of people
Or
love
as
plain buttered
the
noodles.
fancy
Hey,
people like to
they weren't.
say, ergano.
Hey, those 2 bowls of butter noodles he had were pretty super. That's what it is. He's got 2 of them.
You
Blank,
know, Tom
blank.
Brady's kind of the same way. That's a buttery noodle throw release. Pretty standard.
Ain't nobody got a noodle arm like Tannehill, I tell you.
Who?
Tannehill.
Oh.
Tannehill.
He's got the real noodle arm.
I don't bring up that. Cost me a great Madden game.
Miami Dolphins days.
You know, I know we're kind of off
I was
topic
on
with
that
this
team.
release. You know who I think has just one of the best. Just I don't think we'll ever see a player have that same style. Vic's throwing motion. Just
Yeah, it was all torque, no ligaments,
yeah,
just a slingshot.
Bent elbow.
literally just a
Yeah.
rubber band and the flick of the wrist. That's it. The wrist flick. That
He threw a great spiral.
laser.
Reminds me of
One of the
that dude
most
Kevin
effortless.
from Major League with the broken elbow ends up throwing professional. He just has something you can never find.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even like Jalen Hurts has a very high release point. I think
Well, a lot of the shorter guys do.
Yeah,
Drew Brees
and
had
it's
that
like
too.
I think if you need to have a really good release because you're not like you don't have a super strong arm and you need to work on your throwing motion, you're going to have that more generic over the shoulder release. But guys like Josh Allen, Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino back in the day could throw the ball anywhere and everywhere on the field, so they didn't have to have that amazing technique. Michael Vick, just the flick of the wrist. So that makes sense.
So, there's some guy, some quarterback guru, and he's like, have a great arm, but don't fall in love with it.
What?
Like Jay Cutler, like great arm, but he definitely was in love with his arm, and you would see him just bullet that thing right into triple coverage. Matt Stafford, when he was younger, beautiful throwing motion, great arm, would just gun that thing and be like, no DB's gonna be able to catch this thing.
Patrick Mahomes sometimes does that, I think.
He does, but he also has just one of a kind body control where he can pull it off.
Yep.
I thought Carson Wentz had it for his first 3 years, and Clowney ruined it. That hit to the back, that's what caused everything to go downhill.
RJ, I give you credit for how much you bought into him.
For who?
Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Oh, I mean, he's my quarterback. I ain't gonna fucking shit on him.
He ain't your quarterback anymore.
He was at the time.
I know, but you really you supported him.
Yeah, because everybody's it's a professional football player. Anybody has you saw having Geno Smith.
Not everybody supports every player on their team.
No, I'm just saying, but everybody has a chance to make it again. I feel like I'm gonna give everybody if you got to that point, who's to say you can't do it again? I think it's just kind of naive to think, now you just gotta watch it not happen. It is what it is. It didn't work out. On to the next. But you gotta give him a shot.
Yeah,
especially Wentz does that. He had a cannon too.
It was
worth it. Madden failures.
Matt Ryan was my biggest miss in a quarterback resurgence.
I'll never trade for him again.
Well, anyway. I guess that does it. Anything else y'all want to put on the table?
I thought it was kind of funny that Baker didn't want to play for Baltimore.
Oh yeah, that Baker story where the Ravens reached out to him and he said no thanks.
Yeah.
You know how much hate he probably got when he was a Browns fan?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. So we don't watch you,
It's
Breaker.
like Ezekiel Elliott saying, "I want to go to the Eagles," and the Eagles are like, "No, thanks."
Yeah. So some of your players wanted him.
I mean, I would have bought into it, but it's
Dead
just not right.
legs. Dead
I hate that
legs.
guy.
He hasn't signed, right? Yeah.
No.
Yet.
There's so many stories about how he's just like, was a great natural talent, and just the work ethic just has never ever been there.
I didn't know that.
But I mean, that's just rumors, so I'm not going to say I know for certain.
Rumor has it.
So I guess that's going to wrap up today. Moving forward, though, we are going to start diving into the NFL draft more, breaking down the prospects, guys who we like, guys we don't like, sleepers. So in the next coming shows, be on the lookout for our draft coverage. But other than that, this is No Interference. We are your wonderful host, the best host of any sports show there is. Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. We, as always, thank you and appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed it, like, share, subscribe to the video. You can watch us or listen to us on YouTube or Spotify. And please follow us on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter at The NI Show. If you like what you heard today, drop a comment. We'll get back to you. That does it for me. So adios.
See you later.
Peace.